Ragazzi, we're back with another match day looking at Serie A players at the World Cup and how they did. We just talked about match day 2. Now we're looking at match day 3 and a lot to get into. A lot of games, 4 games to get into. We'll start with Argentina versus Saudi Arabia. Surprising scoreline. Saudi Arabia wins 2-1 in this one. Looking at Argentina's team. Starting off with Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan. 90 minutes played, 2 goals disallowed, like 3 offsides. Did a lot on the offensive end, but negated himself with the offside calls. He was dispossessed twice. His passing, 79% accurate, okay. Only had 25 touches, which is a little worrisome compared to Lionel Messi, who had 65 touches. On the flip side, Lautaro did have 1 interception and 4 recoveries. So overall, I'm going to give him 6 out of 10. And we're going to move through these really fast because there's a lot of players because we have Team City out playing, which we'll get to later. Next player on the list is Leandro Paredes. Now, compared to Lautaro, he only played 59 minutes, but passing wise, 93%. He was on the money passing. Paredes also won a penalty that led to Messi's goal, so created a chance opportunity in the game, something Lautaro didn't really do. Now, Martinez had 25 touches. Paredes had 69 touches in comparison. His long ball was okay, 67%. Not too bad. 2 interceptions, 4 recoveries as well, but 100% ground duels won, which is important for a defensive midfielder to win all these balls and get your ball back to your teammates like Messi, who can try to go and try to score goals. Defensively, he was pretty good, did his job. It's just the offensive guys didn't do their job. I'm going to give him 7.5 out of 10. Next up, Angel Di Maria of Juventus. He played all 90 minutes. He created 2 shots in the game. He had 2 shots for himself. Passing 82% accurate, not too bad. 59 touches on the ball, which is, pretty decent. He too was having offside issues, 3 times offsides to go with Lautaro's 3 times offsides. And he was also dispossessed of the ball 3 times as well. Not a good day for Angel Di Maria. I'm going to give him 6.5 out of 10. And the only other player for Argentina that plays in Serie A is Paulo Dybala, and he did not play in this one. Well, he's not healthy yet, so did not play. Now, looking on the flip side, Saudi Arabia, most of their players play in Saudi Arabia, so they had no Serie A players in this one, so we can just skip this team altogether and then move on to the next one. All right, next up, Denmark versus Tunisia, a 0-0 game. Other 2 0-0 games. This is probably the more entertaining game. You tell us what you think. But first for Denmark, they had 2 Serie A players, Joachim Mæhle. He played all 90 minutes, created a decent chance on the offensive side. 81% passing accuracy, not too bad. Defensively, he was okay. 1 block, 4 clearances, 2 recoveries. But with the ball, someone who we're used to seeing push up with Atalanta, create opportunities, really did nothing with the ball. And, this really hurt him. It really hurt Denmark, honestly. Because of his lack of doing anything with the ball, I'm going to give him 6 out of 10. I expect a lot more to Mæhle, and he just didn't bring in this game against Tunisia. Granted, they played well defensively against him, but nonetheless. Now, in the back for them is Simon Kjaer. Played 65 minutes in this one. Didn't play the whole game. He's still not 100% healthy, but passing wise, he is what he is. He's a ball playing defender, 85% passing. When you look at the long ball, 71% accurate. Pretty good for the big man. He had 1 block, 1 clearance, 5 interceptions, 75% aerial duels won. The big man was everywhere. He was pivotal when he was in the game, which is clutch for the Danish defense. And another key factor, too, for the big man, 0 fouls committed, no cards. I love what I saw for the big man. From Milan. So the Milan defender gets 7.5 out of 10 from me. Now moving over to Tunisia, they had a Serie A player, Dylan Braun. He played all 90 minutes for the Tunisians. Passing wise, 72% accurate. I mean, he had about 48 touches in the game for a right back. Not terrible. On the flip side, though, one thing he was very terrible at was the long balls. Every time he was basically just giving the ball away. 22% accurate passing wise. Not ideal for the Tunisians. They kept turning the ball over through him. That hurt the team a lot, in my opinion. Also, he was very good in the air, so I'll give him credit for that. But on the ground duels, he was not very good at all. So I'm going to give the Salernitana player 6.5 out of 10. All right, next, moving on to a game that many people were waiting to see because it could have had some fireworks. Unfortunately, it did not. We were talking about Mexico versus Poland, 0-0 in this game. Like I said, I think this was the least entertaining of the 2 games. You tell us what you thought. First off, for Napoli, Chucky Lozano played all 90 minutes for them. Very active for the L3. Created 3 chances, 83% passing accuracy, which is pretty decent for the little man. But I gotta say, man, I expect a lot of him as well. And his passing on the crosses were horrendous. 9% accuracy on the passing. I think something like 2 out of 11 or something. It was something ridiculously poor for Chucky Lozano. He's got to do better than that. He does better for that at his club, but just for a country, it didn't get it done. Now, he did have the ball a lot on himself, something like 53 touches. He did dribble at guys. He was very successful on that, something around 80% successful on dribbles. So, overall, a decent game for Chucky Lozano. Again, the crosses were poor, but everything else seemed to be doing well, minus the goals and assists. I'm going to give Chucky 7 out of 10. There is another Serie A player for Mexico, Johan Vasquez, but he did not play in this one. Moving on to Team Serie A, and that is Poland with something like 9 players overall on their team. You look Skorupski, Zorkowski, Milik, Zielinski, Zalewski, Piątek, Berezinski, Kwiatkowski, and Glick. 8, I can't count. Oh, Wojciech Szczesny, 9. There you go. Team Serie A. Let's see how they did individually. As a unit, 0 goals. Nothing to write home about, right? They get a shutout, I guess. But individually, let's look at how they did. Well, not every one of those 9 guys did start. Skorupski did not play, as is Zorkowski did not play, and Piątek did not play. First up on the playing list was Arkadiusz Milik. He kind of played. He played 3 minutes, and we're not going to give him a rating. He came on in relief when Peter Zielinski came out in the game. Speaking of Peter Zielinski, he played 87 minutes. He was his typical self, 86% passing, did very well on that, created 2 chances. And he did all this on 36, 37 touches. Crossing was 43%, nothing to write home about. That's not really his forte, even though he's really good at that. Did not do particularly well in this one in that regard. He took 5 corner kicks for Poland, 3 recovers of the ball. On the ground duels, very good. Something it's a very underrated portion of his game for Zielinski. 80% won of ground duels. This is pretty impressive for him. So overall, I am going to give him 7 out of 10. Good game for Zielinski overall, but, still not the world-class type of player we see for Napoli. But nonetheless, he gets 7 out of 10 and good performance overall. Now, Zielinski had a good performance. On the flip side, Nikola Zalewski, not so much. While Zielinski played 90 minutes, Zalewski only played 45 minutes as was taken off just after halftime, or at halftime, I should say. Now, passing-wise, 92% accurate. That's pretty good, right? He had 23 touches on the ball. It was dispossessed a little bit. Did have 5 recoveries of the ball, but overall, game not good. He had to come out of the game at halftime. So I'm going to give the Roman player 5.5 out of 10, unfortunately. All right, up next, Bartosz Berezinski. He played all 90 minutes. Passing was 65% passing. Not that great. Had a lot of touches of the ball, 56 touches of the ball, so he got the ball at his feet a lot. Long balls, not that great, 20%. He could have done a lot better. He gave a ball away a lot in that regard. He too was dispossessed, but he ended up making 4 clearances on the back end, got an interception, recovered the ball 3 times, committed 2 fouls, which is, you kind of expect that from a player of his ilk. So it's an up and down game for him, just an average game. What's the old saying, 6s and 7s? I'm going to give Sampdoria man 6.5 out of 10. Next up is the Spezia man, Jakub Kwiatkowski. He also played 90 minutes. His passing was better than that of Berezinski. 74% accuracy of passing. Not a lot of touches of the ball, 58 touches of the ball. Defensively, 6 clearances, which is pretty good, honestly. 2 interceptions, 4 recoveries is pretty solid defensively, honest. Offensive game was not that great, but defensively is what he's kind of known for. It was very strong for Team Serie A, Poland. I'm gonna give the Spezia player 7.5 out of 10. I think defensively he was very good and helped Szczesny and Poland keep that shutout against Mexico, who were trying as damn as they could to score that goal. Next up, Benevento player Kamil Glick. He too played 90 minutes. The partner to Kuyar, 89% passing, very good in that regards. 37 touches, so he didn't have as much touches as his defensive partners Kuyar, but he had 1 block, 10 clearances. I mean, he was everywhere. 1 interception, 2 recoveries. Between Glick and Kuyar, they were just doing everything and anything possible to stop Mexico from scoring goals, and they did so successfully. He too, I'm going to give 7.5 out of 10. And to round this out for Poland, Team City A, when Glick and Kuyar failed, Wojciech Szczesny that was there to back them up. He played obviously the whole game. Szczesny ended up having to make 4 saves in the game. Very much kept his team in this game. Got to earn the shutout in this one. Again, it was a defensive brilliance, I guess you want to call it, or by Poland, being able to keep Mexico at bay. Passing wise, Szczesny wasn't that great, right? But that's not what he's really there for. He's there for being a stopper, and he made four saves, out saving Ochoa on the other end from Mexico. I'm going to give Szczesny 7 out of 10. So that's Team City. Yeah. Finally, we're going to move to a game that had some goals. I'm talking about France versus Australia. 4-1 victors for France. We had some City A players in here, some players who did really, really well in this one. Now, first off, the player who is in sensational form at the moment, having his Zizou moment. Of course, I'm talking about Adrien Rabiot. 90 minutes played, 1 goal, 1 assist. The man was everywhere, had 80 touches on the ball, 100% accuracy and crosses and long balls, 80% tackles won. He even got interceptions. He had a couple of recoveries. I mean, he did everything offensively and defensively. Adrien Rabiot was magnifique. He's going to get 9 out of 10 for me. I mean, just a sensational game by him. Yeah, Australia didn't do well, but I mean, Adrien Rabiot was everywhere, scored the first goal, and then this kind of went from there. But fantastic performance by Adrien Rabiot. Who would have thought? Next up on the list, one of the first of 2 Milanisti on this French team. First, Olivier Giroud. He played 89 minutes. He came off at the end just for an applause, I guess, if you will. 2 goals in the game on 5 shots. He only had 19 touches of the ball, so he did a lot with a little bit of what he had. His XG was something like 1.72 or something. Passing wise, 83%, nothing too crazy. That's what you expect. But Olivier Giroud was fantastic. A lot of worries in the French camp when Benzema went down in injury. As soon as they got to Qatar, Giroud, the seasoned vet who hadn't scored a World Cup goal yet, also scores 2 now. Tie with Thierry Henry for most goals in French history. This was his typical Olivier Giroud self, and 9 out of 10 is for me. And lastly, for the French team, Theo Hernandez, a guy who did not start the game. His brother actually started the game, Lucas Hernandez, but he picked up an injury in the 12th, 13th minute there. Theo came on, right, left back for left back, brother for brother, and Theo was a typical Theo performance, creating out chances offensively, got an assist in the game. He had a lot of touches on the ball, 79 touches, just as much as Adrien Rabiot, both of them working well together. Long ball passes, 100%. He won tackles. He was 100% tackles won in this game. Did a lot on the left-hand side, as you expect for Theo Hernandez. I'm going to give him 8 out of 10. So Rabiot, 9 out of 10. Giroud, 9 out of 10. Theo, 8 out of 10. And then the Aussies on the other side, they had a couple of Serie A players, Rustic and Karacic, but neither of those players played. So, yeah, those are the Serie A players. There are a lot of Serie A players in match day 3. Team Serie A is Team Poland, 9 players from Serie A on that team. So if you're not, you don't have the Azzurri to cheer for, I guess cheer for Team Polonia with all the Serie A players. I don't know. You do what you want, I guess. But to follow more Serie A players in the World Cup, you definitely want to check this video out next right here and keep up to date with all the action here by the Serie A players and the calcio going on while we have a break from the league. So we'll talk soon.